One thing I really like about this bank is how much everyone genuinely cares about their customers and about the community and about each other. Always trying to put ourselves in the customer's place. What would I expect if I were the customer? And then we try to take it up a few notches from there. And it's kind of like being part of the family when you're banking with us.
All right, so to the agenda. To the agenda, thank you, Mayor. My first item for today's agenda. Would the commission be amenable to starting next week's work session at 1 p.m. in lieu of 1:30? Sure. Thank you. Item number 1, approval of the minutes. You have your minutes from last week. Item number 2, Mr. Shaw, if you'd make your way forward. Item number 2, this is the first reading of an ordinance. We're going from Residential District 1, Residential District 1 with a specific use permit. Like a snip of a Type A manufactured home. The map is attached. Shows you where this is. This is pretty good ways up north. Kind of over at Mirror and Echo. Mr. Shaw, anything to add? Any comments of which to be aware?
Well, this is the area that's being requested. There is an established single-family detached neighborhood just to the south of, if you're looking at your sketch, there's a detached single-family neighborhood south across Lindbergh Avenue, and then you have Mirror Street with some other single-family detached to the west. However, this particular area is made up of large, by far the majority is undeveloped, kind of rural type agricultural lots. Most of the development out there on those lots are mobile homes. There's probably about there are 7 mobile homes within about 2 or 3 block radius, and there's a very nice one out there. There's also one what I would call industrial housing, which is a pre-manufactured home that's made to different standards. But this manufactured home is by far in better shape than any of the ones that are existing out there. And I say that because we did get one call from a resident that lives on the last lot there in Hillcrest subdivision saying that they did not want any more mobile homes out in that area, even though that area is obviously different than the established single-family smaller lot area. However, what we explained to him was, the purpose of this specific use permit was to allow as an alternative, as an affordable alternative to single-family residential living. That these homes had to go through a review process, and that pretty much any of these other manufactured homes that exist out there now, I'd be willing to bet that they've been there for a long time. And if they came through this process, those kinds of mobile homes would not be allowed, or we wouldn't recommend for them to be allowed, because they're in pretty rough shape. So this allows the placement of a manufactured home that is in good shape and probably in better shape than a lot of the stick-built houses out there. So although he is opposed to it, staff still felt that it was an appropriate use, and the Planning and Zoning Commission concurred and recommended the approval of the specific use permit unanimously.
Mayor, Commission, any questions, thoughts, comments? Item number 3, this also the first reading of an ordinance changing the zoning over in the corner of Puckett Place, actually Center Plaza. This is where the old drugstore was. This is taking general retail into planned development. This would allow a light automotive repair shop. 601 votes for the Planning and Zoning Commission, so you did have one abstention. Maybe you've got a map in addition to the staff memos and the ordinances is attached. Shows exactly the piece of that shopping center that's proposed for this use.
What was in there?
That's
Carol?
at a Walgreens drugstore.
Or CVS.
Okay, yeah.
Been gone for
I
quite a while.
was thinking this isn't right. This map is cockeyed. But I was thinking Carolyn DeFord's, that drugstore, where Buddy DeFord practiced forever.
Not that.
Not that drugstore.
Not that.
Gotcha. Okay. Excuse me.
So now, in the restaurant center, this is 34th, but it's south of.
34th and Bell.
It's
That's
south.
the strip center there. This is the old plaza right over here, restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's the old Plaza Restaurant. And Buns Over Texas is, now it's kind of out in the middle of that zone right there.
Wait, no, the plaza is
Turn-
on the
turn-
other
turn
side,
one more.
52.
Where we,
Well-
it's across, what used to be across the street.
Across the street, yeah. I got it.
Where the Italian restaurant is. Yeah. A laundromat or something like that.
The property behind the property to the south down Bell Street, the entirety of that is the Puckett Place Apartments.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Are they going to put in lifts and doors?
Well, what was proposed was, we don't have adjust brakes here in Amarillo.
Oh, what? Oh, just
Adjust brakes.
That's what's going in?
Yes, ma'am. And when the applicant first came to talk to us, they were proposing adjust brakes and said that they were a light automotive repair facility. We've heard that before, and those light automotive repair facilities tend to be more than light automotive repair. So in our initial discussions, we didn't think it was appropriate for a general retail area. However, in further conversation with the applicant, they started describing their work, and we thought, well, they do, with the scope of work that they do brake, suspension repairs, air conditioning tune-ups and repairs, fuel system repair, alignments, oil changes, belts and hose replacement, headlights. They absolutely do not do anything involving getting into any transmission work or engine overhaul work. And so when we started going down the list of what they actually do and comparing that, which is already allowed in general retail zoning districts, being a tune-up shop, lube shop, those kinds of things, it fell very much in line with that than what you typically think of as automotive repair. As a matter of fact, and so we asked them, well, would you be willing to do a plan development so that we would be able to make sure exactly what your scope of work would be, and we will put that in the plan development. Because given the size of the shopping center and the area as a whole, we thought that would be a use that could be appropriate if we had certain development standards associated with it. They said they'd be willing to do that, so they submitted as plan development standards that particular scope of work, which I just went over. Hours of operation would be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. only Monday through Saturday. Absolutely no outdoor storage or display of any kind. No overnight parking of vehicles.
No overnight parking of vehicles?
No overnight parking of vehicles.
So what do we do if they start? I mean, we've waited for parts for a week. For them to tell you they're not going to have any overnight parking
No outside.
outside, but there's no space inside for the amount of cars that they can back up on a hold for parking.
Well, they can park them indoors. I guess they could, but no outdoor, no overnight outdoor parking. It says all work has to be done indoors. Any exterior building changes, materials or colors have to be in character with the existing shopping center. They just can't make that in cap look totally different from the rest of the shopping center. So it has to be in character with the other retail spaces.
If they break those promises, do we have any way of coming back and saying,
We would treat them just like any other zoning violation, and which would include violation notices and ticketing, I guess. And
Can they say that it isn't in their hands, the car is parked there by the owner?
we get by.
Kelly, is the intent of that no cars that are in some partial state of disassembly will be outside?
Yeah, the intent is that that any cars that they're working on, they can't just start having cars parked on that they're intending to work on or are in the process of working on, because a lot of times that's where we get into a lot of the automotive repair, is that they have 10, 12 cars stacked out in front, either being repaired or waiting to be repaired, that kind of thing.
I would say it's much easier to count the number that have cars stacked outside than it is the number that don't. In fact, I can't tell you of any repair station like this that doesn't have cars stacked somewhere. I mean, I don't know of one, not one, whether it be Meineke, whether it be any of them, none of them get all their cars indoors at night. And if they can't, I don't think it's practical at all to think that you would have all the parts within a 8-hour period.
But wouldn't it just look like retail parking? Wouldn't it look the same?
Depends. A lot of the cars can be then abandoned because they don't finish the ticket, and then you've got it sitting there for a period while you work the abandonment, and you get a mechanic's lien, and that's a mess. And they don't want to release the car because it's under mechanics. I mean, it is.
And if that occurs, and I understand that it's common in your industry, that would be a violation. We would issue citations, charge them in municipal court in violation of their zoning. This is a planned development. They're saying they can abide by this, and in fact, I would suggest that in your motion, you make it more abundantly clear. Where it says outdoor storage, right now it says no outdoor storage or display in town, and no overnight parking. Instead of inferring that outdoor applies there, you should in the motion say, and no outdoor overnight parking, if that's your intent. If you want to make that abundantly clear.
Outdoor storage at the very bottom of the memorandum.
Oh, well, it's not in the ordinance.
No.
No, that will be coming in an attached exhibit that we refer by Section 2.
But now, don't you hate it when no good deed goes unpunished, Mr. Norris? But isn't that kind of like just like amending and legislating this on the fly, which tends to cause some problems?
No, because I'm just clarifying the intent. As I understand from Mr. Shaw, it's no outdoor storage or overnight parking. Well, let's just make that real clear.
So you're not changing it, you're just clarifying.
I think we're maybe
I
trying to
got
avoid
it.
a future dispute.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's the intent.
No. My question
And
is,
this is your...
couple of questions. Now, is this brought about by the owner of the shopping center?
They will be leasing the property.
Okay.
Who's the applicant?
Timothy
Dinker.
Yeah,
I'm dealing with-
Timothy Dinker.
And he owns the shopping center?
No.
Uh,
Weingarten. Then
Well, there's also some restrictions on how you store cars inside by the fire department. Have they addressed that?
They will have to have both a building permit and a certificate of occupancy before they can do that. So they will have to do so.
Diminish the value of all your lease space in
I was
shopping
going
center
to
like
see
that?
what
I'm just
everybody
curious
else
what they're
said.
thinking.
Kelly, have we heard from like Gold's Gym and everybody else in that, Roosters, everybody else?
Once
in
upon
that?
a child.
We haven't heard from any other person other than the owners of the apartment complex to the south.
What
What
did they say?
what's he?
They're in opposition to the request because they think this sets a precedence for other automotive repair type uses. And
I just,
well, we asked the applicant would they consider the planned development, and they said they'd certainly be willing to abide by those development standards that we just did. I'm not so sure that they couldn't qualify under general retail anyway. I mean, considering our definition of tune-up, but there is a little gray area right there. So we felt with them being willing to go the planned development route, that provided the best alternative for everybody involved. Some of the mostly what you hear opposition to in these type cases are the impact wrenches that you hear. And number one, this isn't like a tire shop, which as long as tire shop is not in general retail zoning district, but tire shop, that's all they do. They take tires off and they put them on.
Do that sound again.
And these are not near as common as that. But anyway, they did have we asked them about a noise study, and they provided a noise study at a similar type location in Arizona that was on a major intersection with some residential properties, basically at a 90-degree angle from the building. And they did a noise study at 300 feet away and 185 feet away. The apartments are about 150 feet away, so the 185 feet would be pretty comparable. And they did a noise study in Arizona with all the bay doors open, with the impact lenses going, and at 185 feet away, they could not measure any additional noise other than the ambient noise that was already being created by the traffic. They couldn't measure any noise that was created additional to or at a level above the ambient noise that's already created by the traffic and everything else.
Well, questions for me aren't, they're just not about noise, it's more about display and fire safety at night with the vehicles inside.
Well, they would be held to, I guess, like the counselor said, they'd be held to any, typical standard or, safety standard that would be required by building permits and certificate of occupancy.
When they go to get their permits and build this thing, if they're going to have indoor auto storage, they'll immediately trigger all those fire code provisions for suppression, alarms, firewalls, whatever the
keys
codes
left in the
require.
car, so they move.
Going back to your notice question about have we heard from, remember, the notices go to landowners from 200 feet, not tenants. And so if this entire strip center is owned, unless this was condoed out and those were individual ownerships, then there was one notice sent here to whoever owns this apartment, or this strip center, and whoever else is within the 200 feet.
No legal obligation to notify tenants.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. And likely would be very difficult in a lot of cases to determine
We wouldn't know
who are tenants.
So state law says you go by the tax rolls, whoever the registered owner is on the tax rolls. So you got to have some standard, and that's the standard state law uses the tax roll. Our tax rolls with computerization are better than they used to be. Used to was up to a 6-month delay in getting deeds updated, ownership, and now it's much quicker now. I'm going on a limb saying how much quicker, but it's much better than it used to be.
Who was the abstaining vote? Or I don't care about who.
Dean.
Why was the abstaining?
There was a commissioner who said he had a possibility of having a conflict of interest because he was involved in a partial ownership of the shopping center.
Of that shopping center? Must not be Weingarten. They don't part with anybody.
If I understood him correctly.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Marcus, you're just saying when we read this, we should bring that sentence forward to make it part of the ordinance?
I'm just suggesting, yes, Kelly has summarized in his cover memo the restrictions on this plan development.
I'm sorry, one second. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
In Kelly's cover memo,
Right.
at the bottom of it, he has summarized the special rules that go with this plan development. And I'm suggesting you clarify,
Well, I don't know if they were the
so
original.
there'll be no misunderstanding this. It's no outdoor, insert the word outdoor, overnight parking vehicles.
Okay, so I'm clearing this, and Ellen is going to be reading this, or I'll be reading it, but at the top, under number 3, ordinance number 7302, I'm not seeing that specific. Back in the back, interdepartmental memo.
That's what it's in the memo.
That's the memo, look at the bottom of the first
Right.
page.
No outdoor storage. It does say no outdoor storage.
But then it says, for display and no overnight parking of vehicles. Well, I'm suggesting, instead of inferring that outdoor carries on down the line, you just insert outdoor before the word overnight.
And Mayor, this memo and the site plan are included in the ordinance by reference.
Yes, if you would like to take just a quick look at that ordinance. This would be under your tab 3.
Those are the standards that are approved. There'll be an exhibit that's attached to this ordinance, and we'll be with it.
Now, look at the ordinance. It has tab 3. I draw your attention to section 2 of the ordinance.
Section
2
does.
Okay.
This is a new attempt we're making, and again, doing things even better than we have in the past. The zoning change approved in section 1 shall be conducted in accordance with the applicable site plan and/or development standards documents submitted. So it's very clear to anyone looking at this that your action contemplates. Do you have the site plan? Or that's what we have. We don't have standards.
Right.
Well, that'd be good in the future when we could bring that along too. But it's summarized for you in Kelly's memo. Are there other rules for this city, Kelly?
We're talking about, it's summarized where on your letter, it talks about land use and door.
Yes, the development standards start.
Insert this as we
Right there.
make the motion.
Yes.
Got it.
And we could, part of the discussion, discuss that this is a specific concern that we will enforce diligently.
Yes.
So if I move to approve it, I would say that I move to do this, but I want to highlight the specific standards that are laid for it and talk about
that
those.
was-
Well, I want to clarify that there will be no overnight outdoor parking for tow
Okay.
vehicles.
So down in that last sentence on that particular page, and no overnight outdoor parking of vehicles.
Other than the parking of vehicles, is there any other concerns with the use itself?
In a freestanding building, I wouldn't have as much personal concern, but in attached to many other businesses with the fumes and the other things that go on, I guess we have to rely on the other code standards to take care of that. But
Okay, any more thoughts, comments, questions? If we could, Mayor, we move to item 4, resolution, Potter Randall County Appraisal District Board of Directors. They have asked that we do cast our votes. Would offer one possibility, if you'll turn to tab 4 and you see the resolution. In the case of the Randall County ballot, they have 5 positions. They have 5 nominees. You could sprinkle your votes equitably, evenly, and you would be assigning 127 votes to each of those. In the case of Potter County, they have 6 nominees. They have 5 positions. Therefore, we may only vote for 5. As we've discussed previously, the school districts, in effect, make these runaway nominations with selections. The school district has nominated members 1 through 5. Zach Plummer, David Galloway, Bob Garrett, Jack McCullough, Frank Todd. If you then cast your votes equitably for those 5 or any 5 that you choose, you would be giving 122 votes.
What was the number on the first one?
127.
122.
122.
Or I would be accurate by saying 1/6 of each vote of the vote, total votes, and 1/5.
Well, you can only, it's got to be 1/5 for both. You can't vote for 6 people in Potter. There's 6 nominees and only 5 positions.
Which
Somebody-
one don't we vote for?
Well, Vernon
We have to all
Powell,
vote together? That's not fair.
the the city has the vote. So yes, Berna Powell is listed number 6 by alphabetical order. She was not one that was nominated by the school district. You can put all of your votes on any one person, and you cannot change the mathematics. In fact, let me put it on my...
Burn a pound.
Okay.
Sure.
In the case of Potter County, you have 610 total votes to use as you see fit, as long as you don't do it for more than 5. Amarillo ISD has 1,860.
So we're a small piece of the pie.
Yes, sir.
Because of the low tax rate.
Is Vernon.
Is
But-
that true?
That's what it's based on.
We
What
could
percent of
split
the tax
1/6 of
bill?
our votes. We'd spread it even amongst 6, can we not?
And then the best person wins. So, I mean, first one's the most person.
Well,
We're not gonna
that's
have
going to be the
impact.
school.
There's 5 positions, and there's 6 nominees. We can only vote for 5. We can't vote for a position that doesn't.
Well, we're not voting for a position, we're voting for a candidate.
That's right.
What he's saying is we're using our votes. We just make a shorter number of votes.
And
Well, I like
certainly,
it.
you could do that, Commissioner Sims, and I believe the number's 102. Seems like
I want to put
101.6.
votes for Jack McCullough. He's on one of them.
You don't know
You know Bobby Garrett.
Bobby Garrett,
You know
Frank
Dave
Tye.
Galloway.
You know
that
Frank
works
Tye.
for Jackson. Great guy.
No, I don't know. I don't get out much.
Oh, I'm going to split them up. I don't know.
At your pleasure, sir.
My motion.
She can always change it, but
No, that's right.
you can have a real
Get off
Donnie
the
Brook
jack.
if you want.
Isn't that my motion, isn't it?
There's only 3.
I'll be the judge of that. It's good.
Okay. So wait a minute then. I'm sorry, I thought that, so I've got the one you've been
You got
talking
2.
about. I've got 2.
Yeah, you got 2.
Oh.
The Williams not here.
Oh,
I've got
This gentleman's
I've
spoke.
got 4.
And you got 5. That's all
okay. I'll try not.
Sounds like a man problem.
Moving right along, if there's no further questions on
Let's
item
do-
number 4. Item number 5, appointments, boards, and commissions. First, Construction Advisory and Appeals Board. Mayor Kim Black is not seeking reappointment. Mr. Frank Wilbur is willing to accept an appointment in his place, should you so choose.
Frank Wilburn,
Frank Wilbur.
is he also a master plumber?
He also is a master plumber.
Good guy.
Greg's
Oh, really?
Pink, white, and
For
black
the
tie.
pink, white, and blue truck.
No commercial message today.
Note to the FTC. Joe Norman is willing to accept a reappointment, should you so choose. Good. As is Dana Walton.
I know Joe.
You know David too.
I
Glad you know.
do. Joe built mine. They don't have to go.
What's Dana's sister's name?
She's married to the cover boy.
Ryan.
Give me some time. I'll call you in the morning at 2.
Mayor, reports to Plains Board Representative. As you probably remember, your City of Amarillo membership is carried by and paid for Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Buzz David has typically been that representative. That nomination is now open if you would so choose, and Mr. David's willing to continue.
Okay, good.
Zoning Board of Adjustment, Mr. Larry Mills is willing to accept a reappointment as a regular member, position he currently holds. Mr. Benson has resigned. We do have the name of Ms. Farrar Mansfield, and I think I probably said that wrong again. Farrah Mansfield.
Obviously not a child of 70s, is he?
Obviously.
I was going to say Farrah Fawcett, academically.
Sarah who?
Fawcett
No, I know. Me.
Mansfield.
Oh, I know. Sarah.
Mayor, I've lost control of the meeting, sir. I'd like to move right on.
Be a good idea.
Consent agenda. Got a really long one today consisting entirely of routine dedication and acceptance. We've got water and sewer line easements, we've got drainage easements, we have public utility easements, and we have rights of way.
Are you going to ask if anybody wants to extract an item, Mayor?
I think anything, I think I can skip some for consideration.
During the meeting,
Kick me if I don't forget that.
during the meeting, after we have finished with this somewhat lengthy business agenda, we would like, if you've got time, to give you just a brief presentation of the new city website and the customer relationship management portion of that website. We've had that up kind of running in the background now for a little while. We'd like to highlight that, show it off. We'll also be showing two other features of the website. One is how you can now access the commission video, etc., both live and archived through the website. And something that wasn't on here when we wrote the agenda last week, we did once again as the City of Amarillo receive the Silver Transparency Award from the State Comptroller. They provided the icon and it's up on the website.
Not a gold.
Not a gold, silver.
We're going to work harder.
Okay.
You can see through Dean.
Dean doesn't drink enough water, we cannot see through. Mayor, with that, if there are no questions, I believe
Are
that...
you going to make that presentation, or who do I refer to?
If you'll turn that over to me, I'm going to have Mr. James Brown, the hardest working
Hardest
man in
working
rock
man
and
in
roll,
rock and roll and IT.
make that presentation, and it will hold us all enthralled.
Riveted.
Riveted. With that, Mayor, we have some closed session items. I think we've got time to jump into those.
Mayor and Commissioner, I'll call it.